And this is actually a question that I got so much from you guys. Nothing fits for me. I think I'm an olive. How can I find out the easiest and the cheapest? Because that's also important. Welcome, my lovely nestlings, to today's video where I'm going to chat about the 5 things that you need if you have an olive undertone. And if you're new, welcome. My name is Nikki. I am from the Netherlands, hence the accent. I'm also slightly orcish, relatively vintage, and I love being creative, makeup and spooky stuff. Let me explain some things. The slightly orcish means I'm green. That's what today's video is about. I am a light to light medium warm-ish olive. So I'm not extremely warm, but I'm also not neutral. I'm kind of smack in the middle. And the relatively vintage means I am 46. Yes, this video came to me in a dream. Well, actually no, yesterday evening when I was sitting on the couch and this morning when I just woke up and I was like, I need a video idea. And this popped up and I was like, brilliant, why haven't I thought of this before? So basically today, the 5 things that you need if you have an olive complexion or any other wonky undertone. So basically anything besides cool, neutral or warm. Yes? Okay. If you are an olive or have the suspicion that you are an olive, and this is actually a question that I got so much from you guys. Nothing fits for me. I think I'm an olive. How can I find out the easiest and the cheapest? Because that's also important. The first thing that you need when you are an olive or suspect you are an olive is mixing mediums. Basically color correctors. And I have a bunch here. So I have one from LA Girl. This is actually a color corrector that I do use to kind of tone down red spots. So post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and all that kind of thing. And it works even though I'm green. So this works very well. But this is a color that you can kind of get in every store, right? So this is the easiest one to get. So if you think I am an olive, or if you are an olive and you're just stuck, if you're a warmer olive like me, get yourself a medium foundation in the depth that you need and mix in a green color corrector until it's the oliveness that you need. That's the easiest way to find out. So what I actually love to do is buy a warm foundation and mix in a blue. That is what I prefer because I need less of the blue color corrector because I am already on the warmer side, if that makes any sense. Now, if you are a cool toned olive, get yourself a neutral foundation and mix in the blue because then you make it cooler because the neutral is just cooler than the warm. Does that make any sense at all? I hope so. Now, sometimes I have foundations that are olive, but that are a little bit too warm for me. That kind of look a little bit weird. Then I'm like, it's an olive, but there's something wrong with it. Then I also usually mix in a little bit of blue to cool it down a little bit to get basically the cool / warmness, the tepidness that is me. Never mind. The other one that I have that I showed you is a yellow. And these are actually from AOA Studio. These are cheap as chips, but there are more brands that have them. Makeup Revolution also launched mixers, so I will link those as well. The yellow I use to warm up an olive foundation. For instance, if I have a neutral olive foundation, so true neutral, like the one that I have from Lisa Eldridge, it's actually too cool for me. Fun fact is that her warmer neutral is actually too warm for me, so that's why I love these so much, and you need them because this one I use to warm up an olive foundation if it's too cool for me. You need mixers if you are an olive or suspecting of an olive because it's cheaper than buying heaps of olive foundations, right? Okay, the next thing that's kind of in line with that is, for me at least, a lightener. This is a lifesaver. Oftentimes, especially if your budget is drugstore, then the olive foundations start at medium or higher. And if you're not that depth, then a lightener is the way to go. Now, on the other spectrum, the darkener, I have not tried yet. And the reason for that is that when I see the darkening shades, usually they have a little bit of red in them, and that doesn't work if you want to darken up an olive foundation. I would rather buy a foundation that's too dark, that's more my summer color, and then lighten it up in the rest of the year, than to darken up a foundation with a darkening medium. So if I need to darken up a foundation, I actually have a specific foundation for that I can use to darken up a foundation, but it's also an olive foundation, and I kind of hope that makes sense. Now, the next thing that I think that you need is a clear eye base. Most eye bases have a base shade, right? If you're an olive, if you use a base that is too yellow, it warps to peach orange. If you have a base that's too pink, it warps, for me at least, because I'm on the warmer side, to a grayish color. It's not really, it's not handy, especially if you want to have the shades that you have in your palette, right? And it does not really matter if you use neutrals or color, because the color will warp anyway. If your base warps on you, turns orange or gray, then the shadow that you put on top does the same. So if you don't want to do that, then make sure that you have a clear eyeshadow base. And I actually have two here. So the one that I have on right now is from Too Faced. This is the Shadow Insurance. And I hear some people say, yeah, but it does have a base shade. Yeah, it does. But when you tap it out, it doesn't. So I put it on pretty thick so you can see. So yes, it does have a base shade. But when I then kind of basically tap it out, there is no base shade left. That's what you need, because that way your shadows don't warp. A drugstore option that I found here, at least in Europe, is from Essence. It's the Prime Like a Boss. It kind of gives me the same feeling as the Shadow Insurance one, but it's maybe a hint more sticky than the Shadow Insurance. There are other ones out there. There are, but these are the two that I have, and these are the two that I really, really love and can recommend. So if you have any tips, let us know down below. But honestly, it really, really helps. And me and my other orcish friends know that, for instance, with light blue and light green, depending on the eyeshadow base that you have on, it will warp. So a lot of the time a light blue for me turns kind of like a minty or a teal, and a light green can, I don't know, pull even yellow. But if I use a clear base, it's usually not the case. And what I also do is tap, because I don't use a color base, tap a little bit of foundation, a light foundation layer on top of my lid, so at least everything flows. Okay, also a warning, stay away from the banana powder. Trust me, because what happens if you are an olive and you use something that's yellow? Well, I turn into an Oompa Loompa, and I don't know what color a cool toned olive turns into, but me, it's not nice if this is orange. I don't actually mind if I have a yellow, so a warm concealer base, because I also have dark circles, so I don't mind that. But no on the banana powder, at least for me. If you rock it, you go for it. So the next tip that I have is get yourself a translucent setting powder, preferably a true translucent without a base shade. I actually pulled two that are in my collection that do kind of have a base shade that I also really do like. But for translucent, I have Glam Shop has a translucent one that's amazing. Makeup Revolution, their original one, is amazing. Kiko Milano loose settings powder is hands down, I think, the best product that they have. So those are just a few options, and there are other brands that have a translucent powder, but try to stay away from the ones that are very colored. Now the one that I do really like is from Charlotte Tilbury, which is her light one. I also have the medium that I can use to darken up or even warm up my foundation if it's a little bit too cool. So here is the light one, and it does have a slight base shade. But it's okay. It does not really warp my foundation, especially if I use it lightly. You can also see, how much I love it, I think. Can you see the dip in it? Can you? Probably not. You cannot. But that's okay. The other one that I pulled is also one that I do really enjoy, and that's from House Labs. Now the one from House Labs also kind of has a base shade a little bit. I think that if you're a real cool toned olive, maybe it won't work as well for you. But I know that Colin, who is one of my YouTube friends here, is a cooler toned olive, but he's darker than me, and he loves this powder. So yes, it does work. But I hope, and I really do love the powder, but I hope that she comes out with a true translucent one. So yes, tip is get the translucent setting powder. On the other hand, if you have a setting powder that is a little bit warm and your foundation is too cool for you, you can also use that to kind of warm it up a little bit. Then the last thing that I have for you is a mixing sheet and spatula. Now I have a specific mixing sheet that I actually got on Boozer Shop, but any mixing sheet is okay. If you just have kind of an acrylic thing, you know, like this is also acrylic, or I don't know, a dish that you can wash off easily, but get yourself something to mix your foundation and color corrector in, because that saves so much time and it makes it a lot less messy. And the other thing is then something to mix with. Now I love these, and this is a silicone eyeshadow applicator, and that is what I use, and those are the things that I feel you need if you are an olive or another wonky undertone. That is it. Let me know your tips though. So do you have any more tips for us? Also, if you are not an olive, but one of the other, I don't know, interesting colors, let us know your tips down below. This was it. I will link a bunch of stuff down in the description box, and yeah, if you have alternatives, let us also know. That was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if it was helpful, and if you're still here, leave me the olive emoji, because you know, that was what the video was about. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down in the comment section below. I would also love it if you would subscribe to my channel, because we are just the bestest here on the internet. And I am going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening. May your foundation always match your neck, or at least now you know how you can get the match, right? And I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.